VMPiece is back with another video for you guys, and first of all I'd like to say massive thank you to everyone that has been supporting me. I've seen all the comments from the previous video, and I am really appreciative for the support that I have received. And I saw your comments. You asked me to do a defensive tutorial, so what we're gonna do today is gonna be a defensive breakdown of two games that I have done, two very tough games. One is in the Elite Division Rivals and one is in Foot Champs, while being 6-0 up. Basically, we're gonna go through some things that are kind of like fundamentals, like the previous game, and things that you should do and things that you should not do. And it's only gonna be basic stuff. It's only gonna be basic. I mean, it's difficult to implement them because I myself don't consider myself an amazing player in defense, right? I'm not a pro. I never consider myself a pro, but I'm fairly good at the game, and I understand how you should be moving. And I'll show you what I have done correctly, what I've done wrongly through the game. And yeah, the first thing that we are going to start off with is don't be over aggressive. What I mean by that is that the main priority should be closing the lines and closing the gaps for passes. Don't press the opponent, especially if he is already on the ball comfortably. As you can see here, he has the ball, and I should be covering. I'm too late. I should be covering his Zidane. I didn't cover his Zidane, and he had a free space with the right winger. What I did do, however, is I tried to readjust, and by readjusting, I tried to close other spaces in defense. It's very important, and you should do this. You should always use L2 and R2. I'm using R1 because that's my sprint button. So just for this video, when I show the control on the controller on the right side and the buttons, R1 is actually my sprint button, and for you it's gonna be R2. Old school PES controls. Anyways, it's very important to note that you should use sprint, and L2 should be a break. So never sprint while you are chasing and closing the lines. Use L2, which is the jockey, which makes your player much more agile. Example, João Neves. I'm closing the distance here, and by closing the distance, you can see that I am limiting his chances of passing. So I'm getting the ball, and you're gonna see in the attack, I'm trying to find spaces, controlling the ball. I mean, I'm not rushing. I'm trying to find good passes. I did a risky pass in the final third. If you've watched my previous video, control the ball as far away as my opponent. Try to find secure passes in the middle, and in the final third, risk it and go for it. And that's what I did here. But continuing with the defense, here I am controlling Vitinha, but I am too late. And I've let him have a lot of space. And what I have done, this is gonna be one of the second things we're gonna be talking about, is when you rush out for a tackle. This is very important and very difficult to master, because timing is all you need. Timing your tackles is gonna be clutch, because if you miss time a tackle, your player makes a heavy movement and he is gone. He is nowhere near the defense. So that's why I am telling you, first of all, it's really important that you track and close the passes. This is your main priority. So in this case, we managed to tackle with Laurent Blanc because I saw that he's gonna pass, and I switched in the last minute and tackled because we were super close. He didn't have any other choice. And once again here, look at my João Neves. I am just closing the line for the pass. But as you can see here, my attack, I couldn't do anything because I rushed it, my mistake. And I'm trying to close the gap, so I'm switching to Theo Hernandez, but I leave a big gap behind me. So I'm trying to cover with Theo Hernandez, but not running towards Zidane, but running towards the free space so I can close him up, right? This is also a small detail that you need to do. And here I am waiting, and I'm just tackling whenever I need to tackle. This is an example from a different game. He has a lot of open space again, and the thing is, when your opponent already has that much of a free space, you need to back up. if you are over aggressive, especially if it is against a good player, he will capitalize on it if he has enough space. So it's better to back up so that your midfielders manage to come back in defense, so that they can help you, and so that you don't make yourself in a situation where you are in a disadvantage in the case of your opponent having more players than you in attack. You're gonna see one example of good defending turned out to be a goal for my opponent, but nevertheless I couldn't do anything with this goal. But you're gonna see how I control my Ledley King here, and I'm not letting him pass to Puskás, because if he had passed to Puskás in this with his dribbling, it's gonna be incredibly difficult. But he managed to cross it, my players didn't track there, and he scored. It is also super important to know what kind of players you have and you are up against, so that you know their strengths and their weaknesses. In this case, Puskás. If you give the ball to Puskás, his left stick dribbling is on point. Also, you need to see what kind of players you're defending with. If you have a player who has anticipate as a playstyle, of course, you need to strive to get close to him so you can tackle, because anticipate, it's almost guaranteed that you are gonna get the ball. I mean, intercept as well if you have it as a playstyle. This game, remember, is super based on playstyles. It's so heavily based on playstyles, it's actually ridiculous. And you can see in this example as well, I'm not pressing him. I'm checking where Puskás is. And I'm trying to close the path, because if he passes there, he has so much free space, he can do whatever he wants. We have another case here where he has a lot of possession, but I am shifting with my center mids, and I need to track back. But here, as you can see, I switched just in the right moment to Pavard, just so I can intercept this pass in the middle. We move on to the second point of the video, and this is gonna be the timing of the tackles. I've already mentioned it once. Timing of the tackles, incredibly important, because if you mess up once, as you can see, after that I'm gonna show you, you're in for a trouble. In the beginning of the video, you saw one situation where we tackled when the opponent was very near me with the ball. I have to first time tackle. What I mean by first time tackle is just when your opponent gets the ball, you just tackle him. That's it. And I just did a tackle on my leg now while doing this. Crazy. Anyways, and you're gonna see with this example where he is passing the ball, but with our movement being very close to his striker, with Blanc, who has anticipate plus tackle, and he gets the ball. We have another instance where we're too late with Saliba. Just look at how late we are. Right there we made a tackle, and look at the free space that we have in the middle. If he didn't pass back and he turned around, he's free. He's through and go. And now look at how I'm not going to press him. I'm trying to close with L2. I'm trying to close this space so I can intercept with Vitinha, who has intercept base as his playstyles, and his interceptions are pretty cracked. As you can see, another instance where he's too late and I decide to jump in for the tackle because I am already too close with him and he has nowhere to go. And this is another good instance, but this is, of course, we're going back again to the L2 and the closing of the passes and the changing of players switch. And as you can see in this instance, we're controlling João Neves, Jairzinho and Carvajal. We are trying to close down a couple of passes, but this is a bit more advanced and it's a bit more complicated. But that's, of course, when you play the better the opponent you play, the more the actions you need to take in defense. Another tackle by Dani Carvajal, and here he's sprinting and he's taking a heavy touch, and I can utilize it. When he's having a heavy touch, we utilize it with a tackle by Carvajal. The ball ended up with him, but that doesn't matter. And here, again, first time tackle. You see, he controls the ball, but I'm very close. I'm very close with my Theo Hernandez, who has anticipate as his base playstyle. This case as well, we're closing, but he has no options, and we decide to go for the tackle. And here he is being patient, waiting, and as I'm turning, he's tackling me with Van Dijk. The same instance here with Kante. He has a heavy touch and I just press the circle button with Kante, who is incredible in defense. This is one instance where we were too late and we had to resort to defending, but look at what we did afterwards. This is a combination of all three things that we're talking about today, and the third is coming. just after this. First of all, we had to make a first time tackle just as he controls the ball because we were already too late. He takes touch with me, ham, scores a goal instantly. I was too late. Look at the space I've given him. So he takes a touch and instantly I need to go for the tackle. But then I make a stupid pass. And instead of me switching, I'm just trying to intercept the pass to his striker with king. And by doing that, I'm also holding R2. In my case, it's going to be R1 in your case. The double press. Everyone should learn to use it because it is gonna save you in many times. If I didn't use that here, my defender is not going to pressure him and it's going to leave him with a lot of open space from which he can shoot. But by double pressing him, I close the distance, so he is forced to pass to somebody, and he's gonna either do a back pass, which is nice for us, or he's gonna pass to the other striker, which we are already covering with our defender. And as you can see, in this case, we are using the double press now with Theo Hernandez, who was gonna go and tackle Mendy. And here as well, we are using the double press with Theo Hernandez so that we can close the distance to him. And I have my other player, so we're 2v1 and he has nowhere to go. I bet you didn't know about this trick. This is a super important trick and please remember it. The double tap, the double press. The double press, as you can see, is gonna... So the regular double press is making the player who you're not controlling with a green/yellow arrow. But if you press it twice, they become blue on all of them. And what that means is that all of your AI players that you're not controlling are closing the players around you. Here as well, I press it twice. And look at my João Neves going to Maradona and my Blanc going to Colomwani. Very, very important. And here I'm using the double press with Carvajal, although I managed to miss him. But still I'm putting the pressure so that he needs to pass. He needs to do an action. And here again, I'm controlling Pavard and double pressing with Carvajal so he goes out of my space. But here is the problem with the double press. You may leave with open space, and you will, in a lot of cases, when you are too late, you will end up with, or your opponent will end up with a lot of free space. As you can see now in the middle, a lot of free space. And here again, I was double pressing, I was too late with Theo Hernandez, and he has a free chance to score, and I was lucky he didn't score in this case. But all in all, it's super important that you are being patient, you're not being over aggressive, and you are closing the distances and the passes. This is the most important thing. Then you need to time your tackles. Because if you mistime the tackle, you're done. If it's a good player, he's gonna capitalize on it instantly. And the third very important thing is to use the double press. And yeah, I didn't talk about advanced defending and tactical defending because this is more up to preference. I play with advanced defending because I really like the bruiser. But for some people that's not so good, or maybe they cannot get themselves used to playing with it. So yeah, it doesn't really matter if you manage to do closing the distances using the double press and timing your tackles. It doesn't really make such a big difference with the defending, so you shouldn't really be thinking about this. So these are the three things: just timing your tackles, don't rush it, and close the distance. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, subscribe, share, do everything. We're trying to grow. Thank you so much for the support from the previous vid. And yeah, let me know, please let me know what you want to see more in this channel, because I'm really trying to grow it, and this is something I really wanted to kind of create. So yeah, I will be once again reading all the comments and all the suggestions. So yeah, take care until then. I'm streaming on Twitch as well every week, 4 to 5 times weekly, so make sure to check me out at VMPiece there as well. And yeah, that's everything from me. So peace from VMPiece.